Here's a question most people never actually sit with. Who are you becoming? Not who you want to be someday, not the version of yourself you imagine on a good day, but right now, in the quiet, unremarkable routine of your life, what kind of person are your daily habits quietly building? Most of us don't know. We just go through these motions, wake up, check the phone, get through the day, and somewhere in the back of our minds we keep telling ourselves, I'll start being better soon. James Clear wrote a book called Atomic Habits, and the central idea in it is quite uncomfortable in the best way. He says, the person you become isn't shaped by the big actions or the decisions you make. It's shaped by the tiny things you repeat every single day without even thinking about them. Why identity matters more than goals. Most people approach change the same way. They set a goal, I want to lose weight, save money, be more disciplined, and then they stare at the outcome and wait to feel motivated. But the author makes a distinction that changes everything. He says there are two ways to try to change. You can chase the outcome, or you can change who you believe you are. Here is the difference in real life. Someone offers you a cigarette. You say, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. That is still someone who wants a cigarette, just resisting it. Now imagine saying, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. That is a different person entirely. One is fighting a habit, the other has changed their identity. The argument is simple. Every habit you practice is a vote cast for a particular version of yourself. You go for a walk once, that is something you did. You go every morning for 3 months, and it starts to feel like who you are. The goal was never to run a marathon, it was to become a runner. The marathon comes naturally after that. How habits actually form. The loop. So how do habits actually work inside the brain? Clear breaks it into 4 stages. Cue, craving, response, and reward. The cue is a trigger, something your brain notices in the environment, the smell of coffee, a phone buzzing, sitting down on your couch after work. That cue fires a craving. Not a habit itself, but the anticipation of how it will feel. You can't crave a scroll, you crave the feeling of stimulation, of not being bored. The craving drives the response, the actual action. And the reward tells your brain, remember this, do it again. Repeat the loop enough times and it becomes automatic. No decision required. That's the engine behind every habit you have. The 4 laws of building better habits. Clear gives 4 laws of building habits that actually stick. Think of them as design tools, not rules. Law 1. Make it obvious. Your brain follows cues. If the cue for a good habit is hidden or vague, the habit disappears. So design your environment around it. Want to read more? Put the book on your pillow. Want to exercise in the morning? Sleep in your workout clothes. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our environment. Law 2. Make it attractive. Pair something you need to do with something you actually want to do. Only listen to your favorite podcast while you're going for a walk. Only watch your comfort show while you're doing something productive. Your brain starts associating the effort with the pleasure. And suddenly it becomes something you look forward to. Law 3. Make it easy. This is the one most people underestimate. We think motivation is the missing ingredient, but the real predictor of whether a habit sticks is friction. How hard is it to start? Clear has a rule he calls the 2-minute rule. Take any habit you want to build and shrink it until it takes less than 2 minutes. Don't meditate for 20 minutes, sit and breathe for 2. Don't write a full journal entry, just open the notebook. It sounds too small to matter, but that's not the point. The point is mastering the art of showing up, because showing up consistently always beats occasional intensity. Law 4. Make it satisfying. Your brain is wired for immediate rewards, but most good habits have delayed payoffs. You exercise today, the benefit comes in 3 months. The gap between action and reward is where habits go to die. So you create a small immediate signal, a check mark, a ritual, anything that says, that was worth it, do it again. Breaking bad habits, the inverse. Now flip everything. To break a bad habit, you invert the laws. Make it invisible. Remove the cue entirely. Can't stop reaching for your phone? Put it in another room. Don't keep junk food in the house if you eat it when you're stressed. You can't act on a cue when you never see it. Make it unattractive. Reframe what the habit is actually giving you. Late night scrolling isn't relaxation, it's stealing sleep from tomorrow's version of you. Make it difficult. Add friction. Log out every time, delete the app, make it a deliberate act. Stop relying on willpower, redesign the path instead. The 1% concept and the plateau of latent potential. Here's the idea that stays with me the most. If you got just 1% better at something every single day, by the end of the year, you'd be roughly 37 times better. 1% worse every day, you'd nearly disappear. The direction of your habits matters more than the size of them. And here's what makes this so hard to practice. 1% is invisible. You do the work today, nothing looks different. You do it again tomorrow, still nothing. A week goes by, a month, and that's exactly when most people quit. Right before the breakthrough. Clear calls this the plateau of latent potential. Picture an ice cube sitting in a cold room. The temperature slowly rises. 26 degrees, 28, 30, 31, still frozen, 32 degrees. It melts. Was nothing happening before the moment? No. Every single degree mattered. The results just weren't visible yet. That's habits. You practice, you repeat, nothing comes to change, and then one day something shifts. People say, wow, you've really changed. But you know what actually happened. You changed a long time ago. You just had to keep going long enough to reach the threshold. How to actually start? Don't overhaul your entire life. That never works. Pick one habit, make it tiny. Use habit stacking if it helps. Attach a new habit to something you already do automatically. After I make my morning coffee, I will sit and read for 10 minutes. The existing habits become a cue for the new one. And when you miss a day, because you will, don't spiral. The rule is simple. Never miss twice. One missed day is an accident. 2 in a row is the start of a new habit. Here's what I keep coming back to after sitting with this book. We think change requires a big moment, a turning point, a decision that sticks. But it doesn't work that way. Change is quieter than that. It's the book you open for 10 minutes. It's the walk you take when you don't feel like it. The phone you put down, the notebook you open. None of it feels significant in the moment. But somewhere beneath the surface, it's all adding up. We don't decide our futures. We decide our habits. And our habits decide everything else.